And I'm going to get the drill up so that we are able to see the activity. All right. Comment in the comment section or chat that you can see my video at the moment. Yep, perfect. That's what we want to hear. Now, this activity that we're going to be doing, or the drill, is it's playing off your hip. So it's a back foot shot, and it's something that we see a lot of players really, really struggle with this particular shot. Who here finds it really hard to play shorter pitch bowling around their hip or rib cage area? Yeah, very good. All right, so there's condoms, rib cages. Yes, 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 yes. I get hit there. Yeah, you're short. I need to face 110 k's, 50-50. So even if you're not, 100% in a struggle with this is a really, really good activity to actually do. So what I'll do is I'll play through it, and I think Pete and James are the ones on this video showing you this drill. So I'll show you through the 2-minute drill, and then I'll stop and break down some points and actually go into a little bit more detail once we've done that. And then I'll explain to you how you can actually get the most out of the activity to do it. Yeah, Andrew, you can get a bat if you want, because you can actually practice it while we're talking about it. So if anyone wants to go and get a bat, yes, you can. You don't need it though, per se. You can just shadow bat, or you can just sit there and watch. It's up to you. All right. So you can see here, actually there is no video, there's no volume. That's my mistake because I just did the audio. But what Pete's going to be talking about here, okay, is getting into a position that's really, really strong and powerful, okay? Now, you can see here, James, he's quite a big, tall fella, but this activity or this skill set doesn't really discriminate. So when we're sort of getting into our stance here, you can see that James is nice and side on. All right. If the ball is traveling on middle and leg here, you can see that where his thigh pad or his elbow is basically that hot zone. Okay. And we find a lot of players when they get into that position, that where you can see Pete's pointing the ball there where the ball would be. Okay. James Bazley's first reaction is to get those hands up and push out at the ball. And you can see here how he's trying to roll his wrist, and his bat is further away from his body, okay? And when he's playing with that rolled wrist, do you think he's playing a horizontal bat shot or a vertical bat shot? Type in the chat bar. Horizontal, yeah. So you can why would it be horizontal? Who can tell me? Or in between? That's not a bad answer. Why is it horizontal or in between? What's causing that? Do you think? Does anyone know? Rolling the wrist, yep. Playing across the line, yeah, to a degree, yep. Has to move around his body. Very good, Hunter. Okay, so you can see, as everyone said, it's a combination of the intent to get out there and roll the wrist, okay? But it's mainly because he has to play out in front of his body. People's first reaction, if the ball's coming to you at speed, what is your first reaction to do? What does their reflex tell them to do? Hit it, okay? Smack it. Get the ball out of where they want it to be. It's an uncomfortable position up there, okay? So people's first reaction, instead of letting the ball come to them, they try and meet the ball out in the middle. And when you meet the ball out in the middle, see here how James's hands are really, really far out in front of him, just there, okay? And he's losing that control of where his bat's going to go, all right? And if he's pushing his hands out, the ball is further away from his body, okay? And pushing the ball and your hands out and further away from his body makes it harder for him to control the ball, and it means his hands are nice and hard, so he punches at the ball and pushes out at the ball, okay? When you push out at the ball, means you've got hard hands. What happens when you have hard hands? Does anyone know? Type it in the chat bar. What do you think the definition of hard hands, or what happens when you use hard hands and push out at the ball? Ball goes up. Yeah, you feel tense. I like that one. You feel tense. You can pop up a catch. You're less controlled, Dane. Exactly right. So if you're going out there with hard hands, you actually can't feel the ball, and you're really pushing out at the ball and you're losing control. Okay. As a result, if you're making contact out in front of your body and you roll your hands like that, that's when the ball gets to you. You can see here, his wrists are rolled way too early. He plays the ball too early, rolls his wrists too early. So by the time the ball gets to him, he's through the shot. And what happens probably when the ball's here? When the ball gets to his bat, where does the ball go now because of where his bat is? Up. Yeah, pops it up in the air, a leading edge, or alternatively, because he is so hard with his hands, he actually hits the ball, but he hits it too hard and he pops it up in the air on the leg side somewhere, or he misses it because he plays around the ball and it hits him in the chest. Okay. Priam, great answer. You should play it on your back foot. And there was another one. I can't remember who else. Charlie Skinner needs to open his legs up. So once from here, we know and understand now that if he's making contact way too far out in front of his body, it's really hard for him to control his shot. So you can see here, Pete's talking about trying to open his stance up a little bit. Okay, it's not fully open so that he's side on, but when the ball is coming to him, that's when he opens up. So you can see here the ball gets to him rather than him meeting his hands out and pushing his hands out at the ball. He's letting the ball come to him and he drops it and then moves his hands around. Okay, that's a complete opposite of, as you see, Pete pushing his hands out. So you see there how that's a little bit different now. His hands are nice and close to his body. You can see how close his hands to his head there are, whereas before they were further out and he lost control. Okay, so that's the skill behind it. So we want to make sure there's a couple of things here. We want to make sure that you've taken a big enough step back so that you're on the back foot. Why do you think we want to play off the back foot against this shorter pitch bowling? Type it in the chat bar. More space. Bailey, bang, 100%. The further back you go, the more time you've got. Depth of crease. Bailey, Alex Smith, very good. Aditya, Hunter, awesome. Okay, so you want to get this back foot here. See how James's foot was still? Okay, he needs to get his back foot here so that the ball can come back. Okay, but he's also then being able to play the ball nice and late. He's letting the ball come to him. So you can see here how he takes his step back and he lets the ball come to him rather than snatching at it. So a really good activity for you to do to get better at this is for someone to underarm you the ball. So you'll see where Pete stands. He actually gets on his knees, so he throws the ball up to be able to mimic the ball bouncing and traveling up near his rib cage. You don't want it to be too loopy. You want it to be coming up at him, okay? I would suggest if you're having trouble with this sort of shot, I would suggest that you actually start using tennis balls. Why do you think that is? Why do you think we use tennis balls? No fear. Yep. Doesn't hurt you. Soft hands when playing. They're bouncier. They bounce better. I think a few things. Firstly, it's because the ball's softer. So mentally, you're not as sort of wired where you might be a little bit more intimidated from a ball hard coming at you. So even if it does hit you, you're going to sort of get used to the feeling. It might sting a little bit, but it's not a cricket ball. So it takes that element of fear away. But the other part I really like it as well is you can actually feel how soft the ball is and it's bouncier. So if you can get used to getting back and just letting the ball come to you first and using your hands and hitting the ball nice and late, the ball's actually just going to roll off your bat, okay? And you'll know when you're poking at the ball because the ball, you'll hit the ball harder and it'll go in the air and go faster. So I like using tennis balls to start as it's a fear thing. You can actually do the activity properly before you get balls pelted at you, and you actually learn the technique properly and you feel more comfortable. But the other part of it is because it's so bouncy, if you do it wrong and you push your hands out away from your body, you'll actually notice it more because it'll bounce higher, it'll travel off the bat more, and it's easier for you to pick it up, the skill error, okay? So you can see here, we'll watch Pete get on his knee, but you watch how late the ball how late it is before James opens that leg up. So he gets into that position, and you see how he's actually letting the ball come to him. Okay, he's not pushing his hands out. He's actually just moving his hands off to the leg side. So his hands don't come forward. They actually wait for the ball to hit his bat, and then he just rolls his wrists on it. Okay, too many times players try to roll their wrists too early and hit the ball out too far in front of you for you to be able to then lose that top edge. And you can see here, Pete's got a gate set up. He looks a bit like Marnus. Yeah, absolutely. And it's all down to how late he hits the ball. Pete's actually set up a little gate here where you can just set up 2 cones and have a bit of a competition to see how many times out of 5, out of 10, out of 50, out of 100 that you can get the ball into that spot, okay? But it's about, as I said, making sure that you can make contact later, not pushing your hands out at the ball, but actually letting the ball come to you and getting your hands rolled inside. So what I want you to start doing, if you have a bat in your hand or a bat with you, I want you to start getting into the position of moving in the ball like that. So your back foot onto off stump. And I want you to just mimic that the bat actually doesn't go out in front, but you just imagine the ball getting to you and you're just turning your hands on the ball rather than pushing your hands out and trying to force a shot. You can see here, James is just really, really easily letting the ball get to him and rolling his hands on it. The other thing with this is, with a ball in this area, okay, coming up your ribs, the longer that you let the ball come to you, the more likelihood you have of hitting the ball. Okay, let's see actually the position of James's bat when he makes contact with it. See here, describe this type of bat playing. Is it vertical now or is it horizontal? Is the bat vertical or horizontal? It's vertical, isn't it? What's the benefits of having a vertical bat now instead of the horizontal bat? What's the benefits of it? Do we know? You got more wood. Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with Charlie Skinner there, mate. Having a vertical bat playing means that if the ball goes higher, you still can hit it at the top of the bat, near your gloves, down your toe, down there. Where if it's horizontal, you've only got the width of the bat. This way, you've got basically all the way up to the gloves. Okay, and the glove, if it hits the gloves for some reason, most of the time you can still push it down. Whereas if you're going across the line and you're pushing with your hands out and your hands go horizontally, your bat face is horizontal, you have less of a bat, less wood to be able to hit the ball with. So you've got a higher chance of hitting the ball, Charlie. And that's what everyone really struggles with when they're facing balls coming at them, at their ribs. Their first initial movement is to try and get out of the way and flick their hands in, okay? So this is key to make sure that you have your bat nice and high. So if you're doing it now, I want you to get into a good position, step to the offside and imagine the ball coming to your rib cage, not you pushing your hands out to make contact, okay? Charlie, 110K at your chest. Exactly, it's a nightmare. No one likes facing these sorts of deliveries. But you can see the best players in the world, they really, really, really find it easy. It looks easy when they're facing these, but in reality, it's the same pace as what other players are facing. But if they can get into a good position and they use the pace of the ball, you're going to be much more better off. Okay. So what you can do from here is once you've got used to being on your knees with Pete, okay, you can get into a stance and you can potentially get a cricket ball to start throwing them like James is doing with a ball. All right. Only then, when you feel comfortable with that, do you go further back, or only then do you increase the pace. The key to this is to making sure that you're comfortable and you can do it every step of the way. We don't want to throw you in the deep end straight away with a brand new ball on a bowling machine and try to get you at angling in your ribs. Okay. It's more about making sure that you can progressively get better and better and more confident with it. Charlie, 100%. I'll give yourself some cones or a gate so you can learn how to place the ball. You might have, see where the blue ones are, that might be one zone, and then you might have another set of coloured cones in front of square leg. And you can start then to determine when you can play down leg side or when you can drop the ball in front of square. And that gives you an opportunity to then be able to learn how to get off strike depending on the line and the length of the ball. Okay. We've got a couple of Q&A questions. It's not working for some reason. Let me get it out. All right, and then from there, as I said, you can start to then move yourself further and further back or start throwing faster and faster. And what I actually like to do when you're starting to get the hang of this activity is don't continually hammer this over and over again in a repetitive fashion. Once you've got used to doing it, what I actually do is get someone to throw you balls and throw you a couple of fuller balls on the front foot, a couple of half volleys, a couple of defensive ones, then one at your ribs, and then go back and then one at your ribs again, because that's when you start to actually get the benefit of doing it a lot better, okay? That way you start to actually learn, how to do it automatically rather than just learning it 16 times a day for an hour, doing it really well in that controlled block, but then all of a sudden in a game when they bowl one short that you weren't thinking was going to come, you still struggle with it a little bit. So as you get better and better at it, what I would actually do is change it up a little bit, throw some half volleys in there, throw some front foot stuff, and get the thrower to not tell you when they're going to bowl that ball, but actually get you to get in position and be able to turn and get into that good spot sporadically, just so that you know with that stuff, you know that the ball's going to be coming at you. So you're automatically preempting it, which is good to start. But as you get better and better and better, it's about you being able to do it once and do it once well, because you're not going to get every ball there. So you might have to hit all these other balls and then all of a sudden, bang, one at your ribs, and you've got to defend it and get back off strike, okay? So it's about learning that as well. All right. How do you practice to not be afraid, Annabelle? That's what I'm saying. Try to do these activities with tennis balls first. All your protective gear still on, but just use a tennis ball and then get it progressively faster and faster and faster, or harder and harder, so that then you can automatically get blokes or girls or guys absolutely pelting balls at your rib cage and just popping them off, running a single, getting off the other end. Okay. Ryan Royce, can you hit it square to the leg side instead of fine leg? Absolutely. Depends on how fine the ball is. If it's further down leg side, you might be able to just flick it off to fine leg. But if it's straighter, you can hit the ball in front of square even. Okay. Can you start hitting it hard when you've learnt the shot? Anonymous. So this actual shot isn't actually about a power shot. You think about it, you're using the pace of the ball. So this is about just to trickle the ball in the gap or down a fine leg. This particular shot is actually about using the pace, not hitting it hard for four. Okay. It's more, it's more about actually using the pace of the ball and gliding the ball away from you rather than forcing it. Okay. One more. Nate, you've asked, how do you practice with the ball going fast and getting into a position fast? Speed up the speed at which you throw it, okay? Or bring the distance that you're actually throwing the ball into a position where you're actually having to react quicker. Okay, hope that makes sense. So either faster throwing, so underarm the ball faster, or move closer, but don't move too close. It's about doing it properly, remember. All good. All right. Thank you, boys and girls. Enjoy. I think Pete's going to be coming up with his life lesson in about half an hour, so enjoy that. See you soon. Bye.